everybody, and welcome to the Maurice Brown Show Sports Edition. I got to tell you right now, there's my main man, Antoine, real Stewart, on the Maurice Brown Show Sports Edition. I'm going to tell you hey, dude, let's just go right on ahead and get to this thing right now. Yesterday in the NFL was crazy.
It was.
It was absolutely crazy. I don't even know where to start, but I think what we're going to do, we're going to start out with the Broncos and the Cowboys yesterday. These guys were leading Dallas 30-0 in the fourth quarter. It was 30-0. We're talking about Teddy Bridgewater and the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Who were just good enough to beat a couple of high school teams. There's a high school right down the street. Anyway, what happened yesterday to the Cowboys, Stu?
I've said it once, and I'll say it again. It's a week-to-week league. Anybody can be beat any given Sunday. Broncos wanted it more, man. They showed up. They were prepared. They bought it, and you see the results.
Yeah, you see the results. I'm looking at, Dak Prescott. A lot of people said that they should have taken that Mike McCarthy should have taken Dak out. I mean, if your starter is losing 30-0, put in the Hollywood cowboy actor. What's his name? Cooper Rush?
Yeah.
I think he's been in a couple of cowboy movies or something. I'd have put him in.
Exactly.
You go ahead and mop this up. A cowboy, go in there and mop this up. Because you don't leave Dak out. Do you think Dak was injured?
I think he was recovered. Most of these players play injured week to week. With some type of element bothering them. But I definitely would have taken him out. I mean, you didn't have anything to prove. The game was done. You didn't want to risk him potentially injuring himself worse than what he already was. So I think that was a stupid move by the coaching staff to keep him in.
Yeah, and then you look at Ezekiel Elliott, 51 yards on the ground. I mean, Denver just came in with the perfect game plan. It's one thing when you're the when you're the hunted. It's like now people are coming after you, and they're going to give you their best shot. And Dallas better wake up and understand that from this point forward, they're going to get everybody's A game. So they better get used to that. And they didn't expect Denver to come in that joint the way they did yesterday. They got caught sleeping. They were sleepwalking.
Exactly. And I have to give credit to Vic Fangio, who is the head coach of the Broncos. Mind you, where he came from, he was the 49ers defensive coordinator the year we had Harbaugh. We were going back to NFC championships, and we went to that Super Bowl. He's a great guy, and the Denver Broncos are a well-coached organization. You can tell that they're ready to play each week, even though they may not have the top talent on the field, that those guys are ready to play.
Now, my good buddy Ryan Walker says we needed that loss. And, Walker, you did. You needed that. Because now, like I said, you're the hunted. You got to realize you are the hunted. People are coming after you now, and you got to go into every game expecting to get everybody's best shot. And Dallas was not. They were clearly disrespectful of Denver in their game planning because they didn't have an answer.
Right.
They didn't have an answer. How do you go from being – I'm going to leave it alone. I can't even begin to dissect that one. Let's go to Cleveland and Cincinnati. Now, Odell Beckham Jr. out, and the Browns come out there, and they take care of business. How would you assess Cleveland's win yesterday?
Great win. Great division win and a great overall win. And I think Mr. Baker Mayfield showed that why he doesn't need Odell Beckham.
Okay, now let me just say this, because I'm not, and we're going to get into that later on. We'll talk more about – matter of fact, I'm going to save that for later. I'll save that. The Colts, 45-30 over the Jets. I don't think that's a game that's worth commenting on. Then we go to Kansas City and the Green Bay Packers. Now, I'm a Packer fan. Okay.
Right.
And I'm looking at, and I can't wait to hear your response to this. But I'm looking at Jordan Love, and he looks scared to death.
Yeah.
And to his defense, I mean, you get thrown into the starting lineup in probably the loudest stadium in the NFL on the road.
Yeah.
And you are leading a Super Bowl contending team, and you got to go out there and win the ball game. And I get it. Hey, it's understandable, but he was clearly overwhelmed and intimidated for most of the game. You got to give the Packers a lot of credit. I mean, they rallied around him. The defense stepped up. They did everything they could to put him in position to win, and they actually had a shot, as poorly as Jordan played, down the stretch to win that ball game. Now, does this speak more of Green Bay's improved defense or the ineptitude of the Kansas City Chiefs offense?
I mean, to be honest with you, you're going to be surprised when you hear my top 5 NFC teams. Green Bay showed me that I was impressed. I was impressed that you guys only lost by what was that, 6 points?
Yeah, 6 points.
You guys got a great team. For Aaron Rodgers to be out, who arguably possible MVP of the league, for him to be out and you guys still down with 6 points to the Chiefs, that showed me that your defense has come a long way. And you guys got a pretty good team, man. And it's kind of scary when you think about it. I mean, the Chiefs aren't playing the best ball right now, but when I look at the Packers, man, I look at you guys a little different than in the years past. That defense is throwing up, that run game. I think you guys got a chance to do something special.
Yeah, we just need Aaron to stop lying about. We could get to Aaron later. And so now we could look at the Jaguars and Buffalo Bills. How in the world does Buffalo go to Jacksonville, and arguably, and I would say arguably, the worst team in the NFL?
Yeah.
And your team that's been touted as a Super Bowl contender, and you go in there and you lose 9-6. What was up with that, Stu?
Your guess is as good as mine. It was just it was a weird week of football. That's why I always say it's a week-to-week league. Anything can happen on any given Sunday, and this Sunday was a true testament to that statement. I don't know what happened, man. They need to trash this whole week, trash all of film, and just move on. Try to forget. That was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing, and it kind of throws a monkey wrench into the top 5 in the AFC for me. Next game, Falcons over the Saints, and you didn't really expect too much from the Saints, but the Falcons are one of those teams, if you don't come in there with your chin strapped, they're a poor team. But if you don't strap up for the Falcons, they'll get you, and that's what happened yesterday to New Orleans.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Most definitely. But that's a game that, and the Saints better watch out, or they're going to find themselves out of the playoff hunt if they don't fix some things. Now you're looking at the Giants and the Raiders. Here's another confusing game: 23-16, the G-men over the Raiders, and the game was in Vegas, I believe. I could be wrong about that. But how do you lose to the Giants as a team again that's expected to make a Super Bowl run?
Giants. They're a scrappy team, man. We spoke about this last week when the Giants, gave the Chiefs a close game and almost won that game. So, you definitely can't underestimate the Giants. And they came in there and did what they had to do. And the Raiders have been facing a lot of turmoil. It's like almost every week something's happening, whether it was the Bruton situation, then they lost one of their star receivers, So it's unfortunate, but the organization has to pick it back up and continue to play championship football.
Well, you know what, that is true about the Giants. They're like the Falcons. They're a poor team, but they're the kind of team you can't disrespect. Like if you don't come to play football against the Giants, they will get you. They have some nice parts to their team. And they're not a team to just disrespect. And the Raiders found that out yesterday. Baltimore and Minnesota might have been the game of the day. What do you think?
Man, That was the game of the day. Great game. Went into overtime. I mean, the Vikings remind me of the Giants, but the Vikings, I think, are a little bit better team. They got a little bit more weapons and everything. But it went
Yeah.
down to the wire, and Baltimore showed why they are the better team. They can win those
Yeah.
close games. They can, in those scrappy games that they can come out on top. So props to the Baltimore Ravens for doing what they had to do to get the ugly win.
That was an ugly win. I think the Vikings are very similar to the G-men and the Falcons. But they are a little bit better. Like the Vikings
Yeah.
actually are a good team. They can't get out of their own way. I don't know what their problem is in Minnesota, but when they play the Packers, I need for them to lay down. Now, then we got Miami and Houston. I think the Houston Texans are probably the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah. And like I said last week, if I'm a Houston Texans fan, I'm
Yeah.
not going to the game. I'm not buying any merchandise because you have one of the best players at the quarterback position on your team, and they're not playing them. The NFL hasn't given any statement on anything because no criminal charges filed, all civil at this point, and they got to do something. Let them go and keep going and rebuild and do what you got to do. But this whole losing situation, when you have a caliber guy like that, you didn't want to trade him because I'm pretty sure some teams tried to trade for him before the trade deadline happened. So it's just a
No,
bad organization.
it's the worst organization in the NFL, and I think that what they're doing to Deshaun Watson is inexcusable, and they're holding that man hostage. And I like what you said about boycotting. They should be boycotted. I mean, fans should just stop buying their stuff, stop going to their games, stop talking about them, because there is no reason for the Houston Texans to be in the position as a franchise that they're in right now. I like what you said about that. Just stop buying their stuff. Stop going to games. Arizona. Dude. I don't understand. These are your boys right here. The Cardinals, without Kyler Murray, without DeAndre Hopkins, whip San Francisco yesterday, 31-17. Stu, what happened?
We are not a good football team. That's it in a nutshell. We are an unprepared team we're very inconsistent.
Yeah.
1 week we show up and then 1 week we don't. When you think we're supposed to show up, we don't, and when we're not supposed to show up, we do. So I think that goes into coaching first and foremost. I think that Cal Shanahan and our defensive coordinator, DeMarco Ryan, need to figure it out because we take another loss, man. You might as well put Trey Lance in there and let him get some experience at this point. Because I don't think they're making the playoffs, to be honest with you. So
at this stage of the game, Stu, I'm going to have to go along with you on that. I think the 49ers are now officially a poor team, and they're going to have to – and I think Mike Shanahan has a lot to do with what has happened with them because I just think that Jimmy Garoppolo has lost all confidence. And the play calling is not being – there's so many – you follow the 49ers more than I do, but I would agree with you. They are now officially a poor team, and nobody saw this coming. Yesterday, another entertaining game, arguably the most challenging game of the week – I mean, entertaining game. The Chargers 27-24 over Philadelphia.
Yeah, the Chargers did what they had to do. Philly is another team, scrappy. They remind me more of the Minnesota Vikings. They can come in there, they can beat you if you don't come prepared. So the Chargers, that was a big win. It was one of those teams that you're going to have to bring it, and the Chargers did what they had to do. So hats off to the Chargers for doing what they had to do.
Yeah, that was a very good game yesterday, very competitive ball game. Now, here's a head-scratcher from yesterday. Tennessee, another head-scratching game. Tennessee 28-16 over the Rams. What's up with that?
I mean, now if you remember, I had Tennessee number 1 for my top 5 teams of the AFC last week. Now we
Yeah,
thought
you did.
with Henry going down, we thought that that's a good team. That's a well coached football team, top to bottom, defense, offense. They may not be the flashiest thing, but they know their identity and they do what they do well. And they're the bully on the block, and you're going to have to stop them. They're not going to change what they do for anybody, but they're going to make you respect them. And you got to give your hats off to the Titans.
Yeah. Hats off to the Titans. You were right about that. I was wrong. I didn't see that coming at all. I don't think anybody saw the beatdown that they laid on the Rams yesterday at SoFi Stadium. And then the last one of yesterday, New England and Carolina, 24-6. Easy win for the Patriots. The Panthers, they can't get out of a brown paper bag. They're a terrible team. They're terrible. And the Patriots did what they were supposed to do with them, and they're starting to look kind of dangerous too.
Yeah. To be honest with you, they're not there yet, but they're creeping into my top 5. They get a couple more wins the next couple of weeks. The Patriots are looking like a real contender. Looks like they're in rhythm. They got their groove. Stella got her groove back, and they're looking like a real team. They're playing defense. They're running the ball. The kid, that quarterback, he's doing enough. He's not making a lot of dumb, stupid decisions. So it looked like a well-coached team, and they're moving forward, and they maybe make some noise in this playoffs.
No doubt about that. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the Maurice Brown Show Sports Edition with Antoine, Real Stewart, as we break down the games from yesterday in the NFL. And headline going into Week 10, Aaron Rodgers and the COVID-19 situation. Did he lie, Stu?
He did not.
Okay.
He did not lie. And so and I did a little research on this, and with his exact words is that he was immunized.
Okay.
And immunized, the Western definition of immunized is to make someone or something immune to something, to provide with protection against or immunity from. So a lot of people feel like having a strong immune system is being immunized. My immune system is strong in fights against, diseases and stuff naturally. I'm immunized. So they took that word, they kind of thought that, oh, you're immunized, you mean vaccinated. That's not what he was saying. And Aaron Rodgers said that the NFL knew he wasn't vaccinated. His organization, his head coach, GM, president, everyone knew around the organization that he wasn't vaccinated. And that, be honest with you, I feel he's a little discriminated against because you have players and coaches. Look at last week, you had Chicago's Matt Nagy. He's vaccinated. He caught COVID. He had to sit down for a week. So Aaron caught COVID. He had to sit down. He'll be back just like anyone else. So, I just think that it's been too much on, he's not vaccinated. NFL knew his status. You don't have to be vaccinated to play in the NFL. You got people, Tom Brady, what's the receiver for the Cardinals? Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, he's not vaccinated. You have quite a few other stars. It's just not made as much of a biggest deal as the NBA, because the NBA is trying to require their players to get it.
Yeah. I just think this thing's got a lot of layers to it. I think, number one, I think that Aaron Rodgers was misleading, and he knew what he was doing when he said what he was saying. I think the other part of it, however, is the Green Bay Packers knew that he was not vaccinated, and they played along. The NFL knew that he was not vaccinated, and they played along, meaning they allowed him to walk around spaces without a mask on and yada, 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 all these different things. So to try to say, well, Aaron, violated this, that, and the other, I don't want to hear any of that because you guys knew what the deal was. But I do believe that he was dishonest. He didn't tell the truth. He's a smart dude. Hey, Aaron, they asked you, were you vaccinated? And you said, yeah, I've been immunized. Now, unless he was speaking a little Portuguese or Greek, and I'm not too good at those. I misunderstood him.
Right.
I think it was English, and I think he said, "Yeah, I was immunized." Now that being said, that's my guy. Aaron is
Yeah.
my dude. I'm not mad. Hey, Aaron, I forgive you, dude. You're my guy, man. It is what it is. I just want him to get back on the field, because my next question is, did he leave the Green Bay Packers hanging yesterday at Arrowhead Stadium?
I mean, I wouldn't say leave them hanging. I mean, we have no say over whether we get sick or not. You talking about as
Well,
far as we get?
yeah. Yeah, well,
Yeah, I mean,
you just answered the question, because you don't think that he lied, so obviously you wouldn't believe he left them hanging. I, as a Packer fan, feel like I just wish he had been more forthcoming and say, "Hey, look, everybody, I didn't take the shot. I don't believe in it. I have health concerns and issues that I'm not going to," and just keep it moving, like Kirk Cousins and Carson Wentz and other people in the NFL that have made it clear. Lamar Jackson, "Hey, I'm not taking a shot. Just say I'm not taking a shot, and let's keep this thing moving," because it's creating more of a firestorm of controversy if you just don't lay it out for what it is. Now, we got a Super Bowl to win, Aaron. Now, you get it right. Anyway, I'll leave it alone. So I believe that part alone. I understand where you're coming from. Your explanation, Stu, I get it. And you can sail that on past. What Aaron is doing, you could sail that by. I'm not going to fight you about that. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But
right.
it's coming off as him being dishonest.
Right.
Let's look at – now, yesterday was crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Yesterday was whack crazy. I don't even know how
Right.
to position the top 5 in the AFC in particular. What would be your top 5 right now after yesterday in the AFC?
So, and I'm gonna say this: yesterday was so crazy for those guys and gals that do football pools.
Yeah.
The person that doesn't know football is the one that would probably have won because it was just so many upsets. Um, Top 5 AFC, I have at number 1. Again, the Tennessee Titans standing
Okay.
at 72.
Yeah.
Number 2, I have the Baltimore Ravens at 6-2. Number 3, I have the LA Chargers at 5-3.
Okay.
Number 4, I have the Las Vegas Raiders at 5-3. And number
Okay.
5, I have the Buffalo Bills at 5-3.
Okay. I cannot argue with that list at all. The only question I would have with that list, because yesterday was just crazy and mind-boggling, and after everything that went down, I think Tennessee has to be the number 1 team in the AFC after everything, because I don't really think the picture's clear at all. So I would go with Tennessee, though. And then when you look at your bottom tier of the top 5, where you had Buffalo, I think, at 4 or 3 or 4, the Raiders at 4 or 5. You had the Chargers, Bills, and Raiders at the bottom of your top 5. And I'm going, well, you could interchange that. You could throw the Patriots in there. You could throw Cleveland in there. I mean, because what Buffalo did yesterday, the Raiders did yesterday, they did not separate themselves from Cleveland and the Chargers for sure. You had the Chargers at what, 3?
Yeah, Chargers at 3, Oakland at 4, and the Bills at 5.
Yeah, I think you could throw Cleveland in there very easily. And what was the other team that's kind of like a middling ball club? But the Patriots. And you know what? Heck, dude, if the Steelers are on an upward trend, they might get back in the fight as well. But I would have to go with that list. I can't really argue with it. What about the NFC? What do you have for the NFC?
All right, you're gonna love this one, Mo.
Okay.
Number 1, I got the Green Bay Packers sitting at the big dog.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about.
I got the at 7-2. I got the Arizona Cardinals at 8-1, sitting at the second spot. Number 3, I got the Los Angeles Rams at 7-2. Number 4, I got the Tampa Bay Bucks at 6-2, even though they didn't play this week. And number 5, I have the Cowboys at 6-2 because of that loss, the big loss they had. They dropped on my list.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. The only difference I would have with the list would be 1-2. I think Arizona should be number one because they went out and played without Kyler Murray and without DeAndre Hopkins and that what do they call that stupid offense? Oh, air raid.
Yeah.
They air raided San Francisco without arguably their two most dangerous weapons at 8-1. And then I look at the Packers yesterday, and I'm like, even though they didn't have Aaron Rodgers, because I think it's very clear and obvious, had Aaron been out there yesterday, they would have laid waste to Kansas City.
Yeah.
And
the reason why I give you guys number one is because you beat the big dogs. You guys, with your starters and their starters there, you did what you had to do against them. So I couldn't put them above you guys when their one loss came to the Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, we're really talking apples and oranges there. I would just say I think I'm a little more impressed with Arizona at this stage of the game because let's face it, Aaron Rodgers has put the Packers back a notch. Like Green Bay should not be in this position, but they are, and home field right now belongs to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So that's the way I would look at that one, but. I agree with everything else you said, though. I mean, the Packers showed that they can hang in there without key components. But the one thing, and I'm going to throw this out, too. I got to say this. I ain't say this. I got to put this out there. And I can say it because I'm a Packer fan. What Aaron Rodgers showed, his absence showed, was that he's that entire team.
Yeah.
He's the team.
He is the MVP. But I was impressed by your defense. I mean, you guys didn't get blown away. You guys lost by 6 points. A touchdown, you guys won the game. So, that showed me that you guys got a really good team. And that's why I got you guys, looking to make a good run in the playoffs and do something special this year.
Yeah. Well, I'm certainly going to be hoping that you're correct about that. There's no doubt about that. Before we move on, Stu, I wanted to ask you another topic of conversation, which I think is a headline after yesterday's game. Is Cleveland better off without Odell Beckham Jr.?
I would say they are.
Okay.
From what I was hearing, a lot of the issues they were having is with their offense. The quarterback throws to a spot on the field. And the issue is Odell doesn't like to be at that spot. He kind of likes to freelance and do what he wants to do. And that was a lot of issues they were having. So Odell was finding himself not getting the ball as much because he wasn't in the spots he was supposed to be in. So I think that'll be great for them not to have a distraction on the team who's injury prone and can be a diva at times. And it's not cheap. So I think that's a win in all three categories. And moving forward, they should be a better team without him.
Yeah, I just don't think people should get it twisted about Baker Mayfield. I mean, there's some things that you have to throw into the mix here, and clearly, they for whatever reason they play better without Odell on the field for whatever reason. But Jarvis Landry was back. Nick Chubb was back. He ran for 137. Yeah. Joe Burrow threw a pick 6. And Cleveland's defense is pretty good on top of that. Yeah. And so they rallied. The team rallied around Baker Mayfield. They're like, I don't know what's going on with you and Odell. That's between y'all. But as for our team, we're with you. Right. And so they supported Baker yesterday, and Cleveland played some good football.
Yeah.
And so I don't want people – and I'm not trying to denigrate Baker Mayfield. He's a good QB, all right? But I don't want people to come away from this thinking that Baker is a boss. Right. He's not a boss. He's a decent to good quarterback with help. He can get you where you need to go.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he did not win that ball game yesterday. His numbers were not otherworldly or nothing like that. He had help, okay, and they won the game. But I'm not ready to say, oh, yeah, Baker is the man. No, sir. No, he's not. He's not the man.
You got to do it consistently, and that's one thing Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, Tom, and those guys have been consistent. and that's the one thing we questioned with what's the Chiefs quarterback? I don't know.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
Patrick
Mahomes.
Mahomes.
My homeboy. So my homeboy, his work. He's had great seasons. The few seasons he's been there, but he's not having a great season this year, and people were ready to crown him as the best ever, the next Aaron Rodgers, the next this. The talent is there, but he's not winning right now. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that and see what happens.
Well, something's wrong with Kansas City's offense. Okay, we already knew their defense wasn't good at all, but
yeah,
I'm looking at Green Bay and I'm like, I'm a Packer fan, dude. I was very happy with the results we got defensively, even to the extent, like I said, we actually had a shot to even win the game.
Yeah.
But this was not a new narrative yesterday, Kansas City being inept on offense. They've been inept for the last 3-4 games.
Yeah.
And so it makes you wonder what's really going on with the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm completely confused on that. But they're and matter of fact, I'm ready to say they're probably not going to make the playoffs. But we will see. We will see. I'm not gonna throw them off the ship yet, but it doesn't look good. Moving forward, for tonight on Monday Night Football, we have got a real exciting, titillating. It's just the Bears and Steelers. What do you think about?
To be honest,
what do you think about this one here, Stu?
I think this is going to be an exciting game. Justin Fields. He played his best game last week against the 49ers, and I'm looking for him to keep on improving and looking better against Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh is a good team. We know they're a well-coached team. We know that they're trying to make a fight to get into the playoffs. So the Bears, they got a little bit of history too as well. So these are two historic franchises, and I think we might have a better game than what we think tonight.
Well, I'll say this. I'll say this because I think Justin Fields is showing that he can be a starter. I don't think Matt Nagy's play calling is the best in the world, and it doesn't benefit Justin, but he's able to be productive nonetheless. So I like the Bears' potential, but they're not there yet. But against the Steelers, they do have a shot because Pittsburgh's played poorly all year. They've been really stumbling along. So, hey, this might be a good matchup. I mean, the Steelers should win the ball game. Big Ben is getting that rock out a lot quicker. He's a type of guy where he just would wait until he had the throw that he wanted because he would just peel guys off of him. He's so big and strong.
Yeah.
But he's so much older now, and he's so injured and banged up after all the years of playing that position and taking big shots that he can't do that anymore. That rock's got to come out of there.
And also, I was going to say also, man, we've seen Pittsburgh make runs, late season runs, and get into the playoffs. And, they're still the Steelers. They're still a well-coached team. And if they get hot, they catch fire. Last year they caught fire. We can see what happens. But they're still a dangerous team. Pittsburgh is one of those teams you don't want to wake up the sleeping giant because if they get going, they can be a tough team to beat.
Well, the Steelers, they fall into that line if you go into a ball game and you don't strap it up and strap your chin strap, they'll get you.
Yeah.
But they're not a good team. The Steelers are not a good team. And I just think that Big Ben, if he can continue to make the right adjustments with that rock, like Ben, he's not sitting around going, well, I think I like that throw. He's just getting that thing out. And so you have to get the ball out of there, make a quick read, and get it out of there. And he's been in the league long enough where he does know what he's looking at. You might not like that throw, but that's a throw you can make, and you give your team an opportunity to win a ball game. And so the way Ben is playing, if it continues on this trajectory, the Steelers might be okay down the road. Their defense is actually decent. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Tonight's game will be a good one to watch. Especially if you're a diehard football fan, I think tonight would be a good game to watch. Aaron Moore, Washington football team fan, says Steelers defense may be too strong for Fields. Yes, I totally agree with that.
I think
Fields is a
so.
guy. What's that?
I was going to say, Fields is a guy that's got a question mark on him. The league hasn't quite, figured him out. He's improving every week, and he's like a little Russell Wilson back there, but he's bigger than Russell Wilson. He's a little bit
Well,
faster than
yeah.
Russell Wilson. He hasn't reached that level that he can make those same throws, and his knowledge for the game is not there yet. But he's definitely somebody to keep your eyes on moving forward.
Well, he's a guy that has great potential. Look, dude,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now. He doesn't have. I don't like rookies starting. So there's a lot he doesn't understand about reading a defense. And to Aaron Moore's point, the Steelers' defense is going to be too much for him. They're going to give him looks he's never seen before. They're going to be physical. They're going to be blitzing, and he's not going to know really how to handle that because he can't read a defense. He'll use his athleticism and get out of the pocket and buy time, and he'll be effective, but I don't think it'll be enough to beat the Steelers. And the Bears are going to get another L, which would make if they lose tonight, the Bears would end up being, 3-6?
Better than the Jaguars.
Yeah, they're better than Jaguars. So Matt 40 says, "Whoa, you just compared Fields to Wilson? No way." Well, I mean, how would you like to defend that, Stu?
So we all know Fields is no Russell Wilson, but we didn't know Russell Wilson was Russell Wilson his first year. And I watched him with him playing in my division. I watched Russell Wilson. He wasn't that great a quarterback. They played defense and they ran the ball with beast mode. They had the Legion of Boom, and he just did enough. Later on in his career, he became the Russell Wilson that we know now. He didn't have that first. And when you look at Justin Fields, I see a lot of characteristics that are similar to Russell Wilson, where he has the potential to maybe, climb into that window. Is in that same category as a Russell Wilson. We have yet to see, but keep your eyes on Justin Fields.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Justin has a lot of potential. He just needs to, figure out, the NFL. I mean, he's got a lot to learn, but I think he can learn it. He's got a nice arm. He's athletic. He's strong, and I think the sky's the limit for the kid. So I would agree with that. The potential is definitely there. Switching gears, real quick, let's switch gears over to the Washington football team. They got a lot going on with them, and since I guess when did they ever have peace over there at Redskin Park? Never. Anyway, so you look at the investigation on Dan Snyder. If you look at them on the field, they don't have a quarterback, and I like the kid Heineke. Is that his name?
Heineke.
I don't know if it's. I didn't know if it was St. Pauli girl or whatever it was. Yeah, Heineke. That's the beer. But anyway, he's a good kid. I like his potential, but he's not the guy. You've got Cam Newton sitting on the couch waiting for a phone call. You just look at them and you go, they've been in most of their games. Heck, they had Denver 2 weeks ago on the ropes in Denver. They let it get away from them. They had the Green Bay Packers a little bit on the ropes when Aaron Rodgers was on the field. They let that one get away from them. They had the Kansas City Chiefs here in D.C. on the ropes, and they let that one get away from them. They had the Chargers beaten earlier. They should have won that game against the Chargers. They let that one get away from them. And so you just look at them, and they're a team. Oh, by the way, if you go into a game against the Washington football team and you don't have your chin strap buckled, they will beat you.
Yeah.
But the Washington football team has not been able to figure it out. What do you say to that, Stu?
One of the biggest differences I've noticed from this year to last year is the defense. Last year, the defense was playing lights out, and they weren't allowing opponents to score the amount of points that opponents are scoring this year, which helps out the quarterback a lot of times because, quarterback gets the ball more, the defense creates more 3-and-outs. This year, I don't know what's going on, if it's the defensive backs or what's happening. A lot of criticism of Chase Young this year. The defense just hasn't looked the same as last year. They definitely digressed, and they definitely are on a downward spiral. And the coaching staff needs to figure it out and figure it out fast.
Because the season's getting away from them, and as they say, it's getting late in the day.
Yeah,
and for what?
Yeah, and I would say also another thing we have to realize is the Redskins won 7 games last year. They made it to the playoffs, winning 7 games. So maybe the expectations were a little bit higher because they made the playoffs and they weren't such a great team. It was more of a weak division. But now the division is heating up and the teams are starting to get better. The Dallas is starting to, they've gotten a little better and everything. And now the Redskins, the football team, they're not looking as good as they were last year. And maybe they're looking around the same. It's just that, 7 wins is not going to get to the playoffs this year. But their defense definitely has to step up. They're not looking like the same defense from last year.
Well, I would say that they still have a heartbeat of an opportunity to turn things around because they've been competitive in every game.
Yeah.
And I think that after what happened in Dallas yesterday,
and
you look at the Cowboys and you go, okay, something's wrong up there and down there in Big D. There's something wrong down there in Big D. So I'm looking at the Washington football team being competitive. I'm looking at the Philadelphia Eagles being competitive. And I'm looking at the New York Giants being competitive. And they took note of what happened, believe you me, to the Dallas Cowboys yesterday against the Broncos. Let me just say this. I'm going to put this out here. If the Dallas Cowboys don't get that fixed on the back end, because they've got to play the Eagles again. They haven't played the Washington football team yet, so they got 2 against them, and they got 1 more game against the Giants. And the Giants didn't have Danny Dimes I don't like calling him Danny Dimes. He's Daniel Jones. Anyway, they didn't have him because he knocked himself out. But that kid he's a gamer. Daniel Jones is a gamer.
Oh, yeah.
And if Saquon Barkley is there and think they're going to be in New York the next time they meet up, things can go in Washington's favor is what I'm saying on the back end of this season. They are not a bad team. And the Dallas Cowboys no longer, to me, they were losing 30-0 in Dallas against Denver.
Yeah.
I'm saying to you, they just opened the door back up for the other 3 dogs, the other 3 horses in the NFC East. It makes them go, you know what? We might be able to take these guys down. So I like the Washington football team's chances of turning the season around. I just don't know that they can get it done with Taylor Heineke, and I don't think that Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to be able to come back in time to save the season. They got to go get a quarterback. They got to go out and get a quarterback.
They need to.
And if they don't, well, he's still at home.
Yeah.
He's still at home. He's working on his, second bag of supersized Doritos. So, I mean, he just, and so if they don't make a move, and they don't have to get Cam Newton, but they're going to have to fix that quarterback situation, or they're not going to make it. Now, that would be my estimation with the Washington football team. As I say that, Stu, we're going to move on. Now, last week, before the show, Stu, I had the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers as being Week 10's game of the week. You know what?
What's that, Mo?
Not it. We're going to have to scratch that. My new game of the week is Cleveland versus New England.
That's a good game.
That's my new game of the week.
That's a good game. That's a very good game.
That is the best matchup of Week 10 right there.
I agree.
And I think, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that is a very good matchup. And if the Patriots can do what they're supposed to do and get that win, they may jump into the top 5 of my top NFC picks. Shoot, that's a great game, man. That's a great game.
That is a very good game.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in New England. It's going to be in New England. And, that again, I said it already, Baker Mayfield got Nick Chubb back. And guess who else is still, they're coming back down the road? Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
So they're going to get their running game back. The Browns are going to be a problem. And Baker can operate like that. And Jarvis Landry is back. And he was highly underrated because it was always about Odell Beckham. But really, Jarvis Landry got it done. Odell was not getting it done. So he's back, and the defense for Cleveland is legit. They just need the offense to get the ball moving.
Yeah.
So now
the Patriots get that win, man.
Well, look, the Patriots now with Mac Jones, they look like a team that can make a run. The Patriots are looking like a team that can make a run. Now, they lost to Tampa Bay by only two points.
Yeah.
Like, Mac Jones was in that game. And then I think the following week they lost to Dallas.
Yeah.
In a close game that they very well could have won.
Yeah.
The Patriots are starting to look like they could be a problem. And I've got Cleveland and New England as my game of the week. Without a doubt, that is clearly the best matchup that we're going to see in Week 10.
Who do you got winning?
Cleveland.
Woo!
I got Cleveland winning. And I got to say this. When Nick Chubb is healthy and they got Jarvis Landry, the Browns are a real problem. Like, they are a Super Bowl team.
They are.
And they're getting Kareem Hunt to join the gang, the party, in a week or two. I don't know when Kareem Hunt is coming back, but whenever he gets back, Cleveland is a Super Bowl team.
Yeah, I think the Patriots are going to stop the run and make Baker beat them by passing, and get some pressure on them, try to get them to make some bad throws and stuff. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. It's going to come down to who has the ball longer, which offense can control the play clock.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, if there's anybody that can dissect a game, it's Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
And if he can figure out a way to shut down Nick Chubb and force Baker to win the ball game, I would agree. The Patriots will have them right where they want them.
Yeah,
I'm just not so sure though that they can shut Nick Chubb down. I mean, I don't know what kind of scheme Bill would throw. I mean, that's why he's a defensive coordinating guru and head coach. Yeah. And and I have my Doritos and queso every week here. So I don't know, but I mean, as a fan, I'm like, Nick Chubb, man, when he's healthy, the Browns are a problem.
Yeah.
They are a real problem. Huh?
Get your popcorn ready.
Oh, no, I'm going to get my Doritos and queso. But anyway, yeah, dude, that's going to be that's going to be a heck of a matchup. That is the game of the week. Now, and we look at the Cincinnati Bengals going into yesterday's game against Cleveland, and they kind of got exposed a little bit because everybody was ready to anoint Joe Burrow as the new dude.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of wet the bed. Not only that, they lost to the New York Jets.
Yeah.
So you look at Cincinnati and they go, well, okay. Anyway, I don't know what you think about them, but Cleveland, Cleveland is a Super Bowl team right now to me. I got them going into New England and winning the ball game. But we'll see what happens.
They still, well, big bad Titans sitting at number 1. So, the road to the Super Bowl, they're going to have to get through some good teams. They have the team as far as the playmakers. They have the playmakers. They got the defense. But the Titans, it's a good team right now.
Well, they are. I mean, I'm not going to dispute you on that. You were right last week about Tennessee. I did not see them doing what they did yesterday to the Rams.
Yeah,
I did not see that on any level, and so you were right. You called it. Definitely, they're a team to be reckoned with, the Tennessee Titans, no doubt. Mike Vrabel, who is a disciple of Bill Belichick, as he played linebacker for a couple of Super Bowl winning teams in New England, he obviously learned a lot from Belichick because he got a great system there in Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
Vrabel's got a heck of a system in Tennessee. Got to give him a lot of props. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Maurice Brown Show Sports Edition with Antoine Real Stewart, as we have broken down the games from yesterday in the NFL, there were some really interesting ball games for sure yesterday. There's no doubt about that. That was probably Stu, I think we could call that the Halloween edition of the NFL this past Sunday.
I can agree, man. It was definitely a lot of tricks going on, and any given Sunday, this is a week-to-week league. If you're not consistent, if you don't put your big boy pads on, you will be beat.
You'll be beaten, and that was shown yesterday. You got to strap it up and come ready to play. So next week, ladies and gentlemen, check us out as we come back with more breakdowns of what's happening in the NFL, breaking down the games, and taking a look at the state of some of the football teams as we enter Week 10 of the NFL. So Antoine Real Stewart on the Maurice Brown Show. Stu, thanks for being on. We'll see you next Monday. May the peace of Jesus Christ be with you and your family, brother.
Same with you, brother. See you next Monday.